Good evening and welcome to the May 1st, or May 2nd, 2022 regular meeting of the City Council. Please rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Clerk, call the roll, please.
Spinks? Here. Janutus?
Here.
Fluharty?
Here.
Asbury?
Here.
Saunders?
Here.
Cochee?
Here. Council, you have the minutes of the work session of April 18th, 2022. Any corrections? Seeing none, can I have a motion for acceptance by Spinks, second by Janutus? Clerk, call the roll, please.
Spinks?
Yes.
Janutus?
Yes.
Fluharty?
Yes.
Asbury?
Yes.
Saunders?
Yes.
Cochee?
Abstain. And you have the minutes of the regular meeting of April 18th, 2022. Any corrections to that? Seeing none, motion for acceptance by Asbury, second by Saunders. Clerk, call the roll, please.
Spinks?
Yes.
Janutus?
Yes.
Fluharty?
Yes.
Asbury?
Yes.
Saunders?
Yes.
Cochee?
Abstain. And you have the minutes of the special work session of April 26th, 2022. Any corrections to that? Seeing none, motion for acceptance by Fluharty, second by Spinks. Call the roll, please.
Spinks?
Yes.
Janutus?
Yes.
Fluharty?
Yes.
Asbury?
Yes.
Saunders?
Yes.
Cochee?
Yes. And you have the minutes of the special council meeting of April 26, 2022. Corrections to that? Seeing none, motion for acceptance by Asbury, second by Saunders. Call the roll, please.
Spinks?
Yes.
Janutus?
Yes.
Fluharty?
Yes.
Asbury?
Yes.
Saunders?
Yes.
Cochee?
Yes. Ordinance number 9964-22.
Sir, it's an ordinance redividing the city of Bedford into 6 wards as nearly as equal as possible in number of persons, as establishing the boundaries of the wards and certifying the same to the Board of Elections as amended to take effect on January 1st, 2023. It's my understanding you want to table this, Mayor, so we have a little more discussion on the subject.
Need a motion for tabling by Janutus, second by Spinks. Call the roll, please.
Spinks?
Yes.
Janutus?
Yes.
Fluharty?
Yes.
Asbury?
Yes.
Saunders?
Yes.
Cochee?
Yes. And ordinance number 9967-22.
Amending our codified ordinances, chapter 1519 entitled Fireworks and declaring an emergency.
And I have a motion for suspension by Saunders, second by Asbury. Call the roll, please.
Spinks?
Yes.
Janutus?
Yes.
Fluharty?
Yes.
Asbury?
Yes.
Saunders?
Yes.
Cochee?
Yes. Motion for third and final by Spinks, second by Janutus. Mike? Or John?
Yes, sure. This is, some of you might be familiar with the state has recently amended, took it away our home rule, well, not entirely, but has passed a law which would enable people to blow fireworks off on certain holidays out of the year. We have the option of saying, no, we don't want that, or allowing some type of variation of it, or adopting whatever it is that, all the holidays they allow. But this ordinance is actually going to prohibit any fireworks in the city completely.
Thank you. Questions? Seeing none. Call the roll, please.
Spinks?
Yes.
Janutus?
Yes.
Fluharty?
Yes.
Asbury?
Yes.
Saunders?
Yes.
Cochee?
Yes. Ordinance number 9968, oh, excuse me, jumping way ahead here. I guess I'm gonna get through this. I'll forget the reports. Mr. Malice.
Thank you, Mayor. Couple items I want to touch on. The upcoming Broadway Waterline project is tentatively scheduled to start next Monday, that construction. Fabrizi Trucking and Paving is the contractor. We awarded that contract previously from when we bid the job out. For those of you that don't know, it's going to basically run, the majority of the project is going to run from 5 Points through the historic district towards the tracks. What we're primarily doing is going to be abandoning a water line that is from the 1930s. We're going to be making all new connections to the opposite side of the street with a water line going down that side. All the curbs will be removed. Those will be replaced with all new curbing through the historic district, as well as electrical improvements. And there's 2 areas of sewer that need to get repaired. One is within this district, which is near Broadway and Woodrow. That repair is being made, and then there's a second repair that is outside of this area at Pinecrest in Broadway that we added into this contract because our crew is unable to perform that work. The work starting on the 9th is going to be primarily the sewer work. There'll be no disruptions in traffic. We'll be able to perform that work during the day. The contractor will be. However, tentatively starting the week of the 16th, it'll then move towards evening hours. As of right now, those evening hours are from 10 p.m. to 6 a.m., which at point Broadway will be closed. There's going to be detour postings during those timelines. We have digital message boards going up at the highway exits. We've reached out to trucking companies, Sherwood, those that frequent that route in the evening hours. But, you know, a lot of it is Broadway has to be closed to do this work. And closing Broadway makes things very difficult for the small businesses, especially in our historic district. So it's one of the reasons why we look to get this work performed in the evening hours. So we're going to be meeting with the contractor later this week, but that project is tentatively scheduled to start next week. We, as City Council is aware, we had a couple of large grants that were hanging out there with the county. A CDBG grant for $150,000 and a CDSG grant for an additional $50,000. Both of those grants were to be used towards renovations to the pool house. That pool house is last touched when it was constructed in, I believe it was 1967. It's much time, it's due for an upgrade, and we have plans for those upgrades. Happy to announce that we were officially awarded both of those grants last week through Cuyahoga County, so we are moving forward with the pool house renovations. We're going to be putting together bid specs, and that will be going out for bid to do those renovations. So kudos to Jennifer Kuzma, who really worked on that, did an outstanding job. As well as the next grant, which everybody's familiar with, we were awarded the grant through county planning for the tree canopy, the improvement. We're going to be installing over 100 trees, as council knows, along a number of residential streets, as well as last year we did an assessment in a lot of our public parks. We've removed a lot of those dead trees. A lot of the dead trees in front of the Ellenwood Community Center were removed. This is also going to include plantings at some of those locations. We're going to be starting in a couple weeks. Our plan is to place somewhere between 50 and 60 of those trees will be planted in the spring, and the additional will be planted in the fall, and that'll be completed this year. Last week we met with the company that we worked with for the AutoMile camera project. For those of you that don't know, the AutoMile funded a kind of like a pilot program along the AutoMile with security cameras. There's a number of cameras mounted throughout that area, and at the entrance points we have cameras that could read license plates. They paid for that entire project a few years ago. Those cameras are directly fed to dispatch, to our police department, as well as to the cruisers. and they've played a vital role in solving a couple of hit and runs, as well as other police department matters that we had to use that access. Expanding on that, being that that was a pilot program, we kind of wanted to figure out a way to expand that to the historic district, to the Bedford Commons, to the park area. Automile last year donated, gave the city, I believe it was $50,000 was the exact amount, earmarked, a portion of that earmarked towards that project. So we met with the company last week. We identified a number of the locations which could be useful, where we can mount, tie into the electricity and obviously Wi-Fi. Make sure that there's, security on a lot of those. There's monuments, there's historical buildings down there. I think would be vital, as well as the small businesses. It adds a sense of security. So we're still probably a couple months out till that's up and finished, but we met with him last week. And lastly, just a friendly reminder that we have our Shred Day, first of two, funded through a grant. That is scheduled for May 14th, right here in the municipal parking lot, from 9 a.m. until 12. End of report.
Thank you. And again, pass our thanks on to the Automile. They're just a big supporter of the city. And they always come in when we need them. We thank them for that. Before I turn it over to Frank, I just want to introduce that we have our Assistant Finance Director, Jennifer Holland, with us, and our second Assistant Finance Director just came on board. Allison Chance will be our new, be the assistant to Jen when Jen takes over for Frank. So welcome, and we're really pleased to have you aboard.
Thank you.
Frank, now that I stole your thunder,
Law Director,
John, don't say.
Oh, yeah, I have an end report. I'll just say happy Mother's Day to everybody. Happy Mother's Day out there. Very good.
Yeah, I gotta get my head back.
I was just gonna say that.
Thanks, John. Now, Frank.
The only thing I wanted to update about was a civil service update of where we stand right now. We had just finished our first lateral transfer process for the firemen. Went very, very well. We're very pleased with the results we had there. A lot quicker, a lot faster. We're going to be able to put people on board a lot better with that process. And we had great candidates. So, and of course, they're interested in Bedford because they're actually applying here. Second of all, we just finished up with our police sergeant and lieutenant promotional exams. I shouldn't say finished up, we're halfway through. We finished up with the written part of the exam, and we will be finishing up in the next couple of weeks with the oral exams for both of those promotional lists that we'll create for our organization. So that's the end of it, and that's all I have to say this evening. Welcome again, Allison. Welcome again, Jennifer. Looking forward to seeing you take over come July. Thanks.
Thank you. Mrs. Spinks.
Good evening, everybody. I'm going to start off with Mike. Thank you. Even on a Sunday, I bug him on Sundays. I do send him texts. I don't call him because I know he's busy with his boys, but doing my rounds, my daily rounds yesterday, as I'm coming out of Grand to go into Broadway, I see this truck. It's an empty lot there. Actually, Jeff, this is your ward. And all of a sudden, this van takes off. So it goes down Broadway towards Maple. Well, I go and I do my ward check through Greencroft area. And I get a phone call to go see a lady on Sector. And as I'm coming out, right across from the old Mercedes place, all you can see is these great big, the rugs. And all you can see is these big marijuana symbols on these rugs. And it's right there where the Zoom place used to be, where the wreck was. And why this guy thought that this was okay, and it was so horrible. He had probably, well, he got them done real quick, because I did my ward check, he was set up. But selling rugs on the side of Broadway. So Mike, thank you for jumping on that. I took pictures and I sent them to Mike, and by the time I did another swipe around, the guy was gone. But some of that just looks so tacky. I hate when you know, when you see the people selling the t-shirts and stuff on the side at the service stations and stuff, it just looks bad. It looks bad in our city. So, Mike, thanks for, I got the picture. They had a sign out with a number on it. That was not too smart on their behalf, but thanks, Mike, for doing that. As I'm out, me and Wally was talking one time about the weird things that people throw out. Well, I think I had the winner today. 2 wigs, one was still in a bag, and next to the wigs on the side of the sidewalk, I don't know if it blew, but someone threw it out of their car or what, was a pair of shoes with the socks still in them. And so, yeah, it was a weird thing. And then 2 full cartons of cigarettes. So I guess someone decided that they were gonna quit today, and that was last, so they threw those out. So picking up the trash, meanwhile, I was talking about, people really throw out some weird stuff, but I guess somebody literally lost their hair or their, I don't know. They threw it out the window.
You got some good stuff there.
Yeah, no, you want a wig. I'm hoping that this catches on. I know Solon now, all of theirs, even the John Eagle that's in Solon, I'm hoping that ours starts doing it. You can take your own bags to everything, every business in Solon, even the restaurants are not. They're finally got rid of the styrofoam. I know Hobby Lobby, you have to bring your own bag in or purchase one for 10 cents. Giant Eagle, so all of Solon area, Bainbridge, I know they're trying to pass a thing, so, you know, the biggest thing though, I wish we could do something about the plastic bottles, cause it's bad. I'm hoping to see one day that, Mike, we don't see these. I know Wally's been complaining that everybody brings their own thermos or, you know, water thing. I'd like to see these go away, even though I'm guilty of drinking out of them every once in a while. But, yeah, the trash is just, it's got bad. I do have some sign-ups for some kids after school is out that promised to be part of the Bedford clean. They're gonna help me out. They said they'll volunteer at least some Saturdays, so that'll be good. So Mike will have some kids out at least once a week helping to pick up the trash. Little announcement, it's to the residents, if you're gonna be getting a new roof put on, even if they're going to not tear the roof off and put one on it, you still need to get a permit. You've got to get a permit. And on all actuality, if you have somebody that's doing your roof, they should know that. So make sure when you're going to do something, make sure you get your permits for doing that. And also, the Napa was supposed to have their ribbon cutting this coming up Friday. They decided they pushed it because they're still having trouble. They moved in right by the B&B a couple months ago. They're still having a little bit of trouble getting some of their products in there. So just nice, super nice guys in there. It's looking really good. They've had more this time, but they're going to be, Mike and I'll be talking to you too, because they want to kind of have a giveaway or a cookout or something for the residents or customers and stuff. So that's coming up, good things. Happy Cinco de Mayo. Also happens to be my stepson's birthday. And happy Mother's Day. In a report.
Thank you. Mr. Janutus.
Well, yeah, happy Mother's Day, and I don't find as good as stuff in my ward picking up as usual, apparently. But at least there aren't as many gloves and masks anymore, so that's good. And actually, I think, you know, looking at the trash, I think it's, I don't know, it's getting better around town, I think. People think it's getting worse, but the yards look pretty good. I'm happy with how people are keeping them up in our ward. There's a lot, the city events for the year has been posted. There's going to be a lot of great city events again now that COVID's over, and we're practically over, depending on who you talk to, and hope to see you all there. End of report. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Fluharty.
Thank you, Mayor. Just got something to read off here from the Lions Club. If you or someone you know suffers with vision impairment, this is for you. Bedford Lions Club, together with the Bedford Rec Department, will be hosting an informational seminar regarding multiple causes of vision loss and the many visual aids available. This will be presented by Deborah Kogler, the owner of Magnifiers and More. She is also a dual licensed optician with over 35 years of experience. This will be held on May 18th, which I think is a Wednesday, at 3 o'clock at Ellenwood Recreation Center, 124 Ellenwood Street. Call for reservations must be made by calling the rec department at 440-735-6572, or you can call right here at 232-1600 and ask for the rec department, and they'll transport you over there. This is a pretty good cause, and it's good information. I'm a member of the Lions Club, and we do help people get, we help with some financial help, I'm sure, and everything else to get you a pair of glasses and whatever else you need. So this is a big program that we sponsor, and I'm pretty sure you have to be a Bedford resident to be eligible for this program. So, end of report.
Thank you. Mr. Asbury?
Thank you, Mayor. And I bother Mike on the weekends too, so. He doesn't get away. So voting tomorrow, we've got some primary voting. Generally, the primaries are very low voter turnout, so let's try and, if you got some time, we got some from 6:30 a.m. to 7:30 p.m. You can check the Board of Elections website and you can print a sample ballot for your ward. The wards will be voting, wards 1, 3, 5, and 6 are all at Ellenwood. Ward 2 is at Bedford High School, and Ward 4 is at Glendale. So do your civic duty. That's tomorrow, and then Wednesday night we have the Broadway construction meeting here at 6 o'clock. So if anybody's concerned about what's going to happen during the construction project, here at 6 o'clock on Wednesday evening. Bedford Downtown Alliance Chocolate Walk 4th Annual. Tickets are still on sale. That event is May 14th, Saturday, noon to 5. Get your tickets, they're more than half sold. Chipper service is this week. If you've got anything out that you didn't get on the list, chipper service will be the week of June 6th. So make sure you call the service department, get on the list. They're not going to know if you have them unless you call and get on the list. June is also exterior residential permit. The building department waives the fee for external permits for the month of June. So if you've got any kind of upgrades you want to do outside in your house or to your house, that permit fee is waived for the month of June. Memorial Day Parade is on, so that starts at 10:15 on May 30th. Hopefully everybody will be there. I know we've been kind of shut in for the last couple of years, and it's going to be nice to get these events mentioned that the event schedule is up for the square. So make your plans early. We've got a lot of great events this summer. Independence Day Parade, I believe that's back on also with Bedford Heights. So we're kind of like back to normal parade route, and everybody will be happy. Good deal, good deal. Last thing is the Bedford Garden Club's plant sale. Begins Friday, May 13th from 1 p.m. to 7 p.m. and Saturday, May 14th from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. and that's at Ellenwood. That's it, end of report.
Thank you. Mr. Saunders?
Well, everything's been said, not quite. Mike, there is a concern with the residents around Burger King lately. Apparently Burger King doesn't have enough help and they just close randomly. And because of it, people don't know they're closed because they don't put any sign up, especially in the drive-through section. And the people pull up to the windows and lay on their horns, figuring that somebody is in there, that they were just not paying attention. Is there something we can do to contact Burger King to tell them to at least put a sign up or something? Because the people are tired of hearing the horns. Now, a lot of Burger Kings are open 24/7, and this is happening in the middle of the night too. Because they leave the lights on in the dining room, so people think this place is open, even though the sign's turned off outside. So, we need to do something about, them marking it much better that they are not open, especially during days or anything when they don't have enough help to stay open. So whether it's on the menu board that they put it on or whatever, but they should be marking them that they're closed so that the people aren't annoying everything else in the area. So, short of that, that's all I have tonight.
Thank you. And I just want to thank everybody for their condolences on the passing of my mom. And thanks to council for the flowers and the administration for helping out. Really appreciate it. And she had 94 good years, so she passed quietly and in her sleep. It's about the best we can hope for. So again, thanks for all the condolences. And going last, everybody said everything, so I don't have to add anything to remarks. So now we can get on with business, right? Ordinance number 9968-22.
Authorizing the approval of engineering fees to the GDP Group for its services regarding design fees, construction administration, and inspection costs associated with the Broadway Waterline Improvement Project in the city of Bedford and declaring an emergency.
Motion for suspension by Asbury, second by Saunders. Call the roll, please.
Spinks?
Yes.
Janutus?
Yes.
Fluharty?
Yes.
Asbury?
Yes.
Saunders?
Abstain.
Cochee?
Yes. Motion for third and final by Fluharty, second by Spinks. Mike, who wants to take this? Mike?
I can take it. This is the,
Actually, Mayor, just a quick, Don, did you want to vote for the emergency at least?
Well, yeah, I could vote for the emergency,
Otherwise,
so
we-
change mine to a yes. But my son worked on these plans, so I can't vote for it.
I hear you, but as far as, otherwise we.
Yeah, right, yeah, we'd have to do another week, so, no, I had the wrong one.
yes, this piece of legislation is to cover the cost with our engineering firm for the Broadway Waterline project. This basically, the ordinance separates the total cost that we will be paying GPD. These costs are obviously affiliated with all of the work, design work, construction, and the inspection. And it's broken down into 3 separate funds as to where they will be charged to.
Okay, any questions? Call the roll, please.
Spinks?
Yes.
Janutus?
Yes.
Fluharty?
Yes.
Asbury?
Yes.
Saunders?
Abstain.
Cochee?
Yes. Ordinance number 9969-22.
Amending ordinance number 9959-22, authorizing and directing the city manager to enter into a contract with Fabrizi Trucking and Paving for the Broadway Avenue Waterline Improvement Project and declaring an emergency.
Motion for suspension by Asbury, second by Saunders. Call the roll, please.
Spinks?
Yes.
Janutus?
Yes.
Fluharty?
Yes.
Asbury?
Yes.
Saunders?
Yes.
Cochee?
Yes. Motion for third and final by Spinks, second by Janutus. Frank or Mike?
I can take it. This is, we passed this contract at a previous meeting. This amended ordinance is not an additional expense, but it merely identifies the 4 separate accounts that we will be charging various amounts to. It does not come out of one account. Some will be water, some will be general, sewer, things like that. So this just specifies where it will be paid out.
Questions? Call the roll, please.
Spinks?
Yes.
Janutus?
Yes.
Fluharty?
Yes.
Asbury?
Yes.
Saunders?
Next 5, we're gonna do on first reading. Couple have to do with taxes and street lighting. I think that's it. Resolution number 2581-22.
Being a resolution requesting the county auditor or fiscal officer to advance taxes from the proceeds of tax levies for the year 2022 collected in 2023 pursuant to section number 321.34 of the Ohio Revised Code and declaring an emergency.
We should have first reading, and a motion for such by Saunders, second by Asbury. Frank, you want to talk shortly on this one?
You want me, on all these issues, basically, we're going to, as the county collects your taxes in the tax year 22, it'll actually be in 23, January and so forth. As they accumulate the amounts up to 75%, they can actually give those funds to the city ahead of time, rather than waiting for the final settlement of the whole issue, which would be in March. So the funds are received by the city quicker and faster and more in line with how we spend. And that goes for both collection halves, first and second half.
Thank you.
The others, I'll touch on
Yeah,
those
go
real
ahead.
fast, so you can just go through them. The tax budget for this year will be the same millage that we did in the past at 21.7 mils, which you're doing that for so that the county auditor can allow us to accept local government funds. Second, will be in regards to receiving certificate of estimated resources, which we cannot over appropriate from council as we go through the budget process starting in August and finishing in December. And third, it will establish the rate structure that we're gonna have to, at this point. The street lightings, some of the nice work that Jennifer did on this, we did the calculations, she completed those. We'll be dropping the millage to 1.4 mils from 1.5 mils, so keeping those in line with the valuation increases, we've tried to lower that a little bit. And as well as that in line with our locked-in contract with NOPEC for electric usage. We've lowered our rates for that, and that is locked in for 3 years. So that'll help establish that fund for the next 3 years and keep that in line. And she'll monitor that year after year to see where we're at on the millage that's needed for that operation of that. Refuse has not been completed at this point in time for the assessments.
Thank you. Call the roll, please.
Spinks?
Yes.
Janutus?
Yes.
Fluharty?
Yes.
Asbury?
Yes.
Saunders?
Yes.
Cochee?
Yes. Resolution number 2582-22.
Approving and accepting the proposed 2022 tax budget for the year January 1st, 2023 through December 31st, 2023, and declaring an emergency.
Motion for first reading by Fluharty, second by Spinks. Again, Frank just explained these. Call the roll, please.
Spinks?
Yes.
Janutus?
Yes.
Fluharty?
Yes.
Asbury?
Yes.
Saunders?
Yes.
Cochee?
Yes. Too many papers.
Yeah.
Resolution number 2583-22.
Declaring the necessity to improve certain streets in the city of Bedford, Ohio by lighting the same and declaring an emergency.
I think we want all our streets lit.
Yeah.
Motion for first reading by Asbury, second by Saunders. Call the roll, please.
Spinks?
Yes.
Janutus?
Yes.
Fluharty?
Yes.
Asbury?
Yes.
Saunders?
Yes.
Cochee?
Yes. Resolution number 9970-22.
In follow-up to the resolution.
Excuse me, ordinance number.
Yes, sir. In follow-up to the resolution, we have to pass an ordinance to determine to proceed with the improvements of certain streets in the city of Bedford, Ohio by lighting the same and declaring an emergency.
Again, this is our annual thing we do for street lighting. Motion for first reading by Spinks, second by Janutus. Call the roll, please.
Spinks?
Yes.
Janutus?
Yes.
Fluharty?
Yes.
Asbury?
Yes.
Saunders?
Yes.
Cochee?
Yes. Ordinance number 9971-22.
Now that we passed, once we pass the resolution and the ordinance, we are going to It need an ordinance to levy special assessments for the improvement of the street and public places of the city of Ohio by lighting, of Bedford, Ohio by lighting of the same in accordance with prior resolutions and declaring an emergency.
This allows us to pay for it, right?
Yes, sir.
Motion for first reading by Saunders, second by Asbury. Call the roll, please.
Spinks,
Yes.
Janudis,
Yes.
Fluharty,
Yes.
Asbury,
Yes.
Saunders,
Yes.
Cochee.
Yes. Ordinance number 9972-22.
Is an ordinance declaring improvements to certain real property within the city of Bedford, Ohio to be a public purpose, declaring such property to be exempt from real property taxation, requiring annual statutory service payments in lieu of taxes, creating an urban redevelopment tax increment equivalent fund for the deposit of such statutory service payments, authorizing the execution of service agreements and a cooperative agreement, and declaring an emergency.
Have a motion for suspension by Fluharty, second by Janudis. Call the roll, please.
Spinks,
Yes.
Janudis,
Yes.
Fluharty,
Yes.
Asbury,
Yes.
Saunders,
Yes.
Cochee.
Yes. Motion for third and final by Asbury, second by Saunders.
I'll let Mike start and then
Mike,
I'll finish.
Okay. Thanks, Frank. This TIF agreement is one of the last steps in moving forward with the development of Tinkers Creek Commerce Park. This is the property off of Bedford Road, roughly 30 acres that is remaining, that is undeveloped. It has been undeveloped because there is a large county loan that is still associated with that property. Our staff has been working with Cuyahoga County, with the property owner for years, trying to come up with a creative solution to move forward, to free this land up to be developed. And ultimately, we're there. If you recall, over the last few months, and actually over the last year, we've entered into a number of different agreements with the land bank, with Cuyahoga County. 2 weeks ago, we took ownership of the remaining property that's there, 30 acres. Now that the city owns that property, we are in the process of going through a due diligence period with 2 end users. One company is going to be acquiring 5 acres to expand their business, and then a development company is going to be acquiring the remaining 25 acres for future development. Those funds that we would get with the sale, and the sale will be near the appraised value of that property, will be directed to Cuyahoga County, minus a percentage that the city is going to be collecting. That percentage is going to be close to about $400,000 that we will be able to retain and put into our capital improvement fund. This TIF legislation, what this does is, moving forward, the county is going to still be owed some remaining debt. Right? They put out a $3 million loan, and they're not getting $3 million from the sale. There's the remaining amount. What this does is, Bedford is going to be foregoing our portion of future property tax, which will go directly to the county until they're recouped. Once they are recouped, it'll revert back and we'll get 60%. They'll get 40% up until the 30 years. Normally, we would only be entitled to 40%. So that was another concession that the county made towards the city. So we get a large portion of money up front, and then we'll get some money on the back end. The intent is, we're agreeing to forego that property tax in the middle until the county is made whole on the loan that they gave out roughly 18 years ago, 16 years ago. We believe it's going to spur development with 2 end users. The amount of that debt that'll get paid back as buildings go up and there's property value there, they'll recoup that money sooner than later. If no buildings go up, it'll take a little bit longer. But this is the one thing that's important to mention in this stage of the TIF. It is a non-school TIF, so the Bedford City Schools are not affected by this. they're not losing their property taxes as some TIF agreements can be set up to do so. The one piece that we will add in there is Bedford also retained the ability to provide tax abatements to a company should they request or want to negotiate. We've retained the ability to do that up to 70%. Now, obviously, that's negotiable. If someone comes to us and they want to build a warehouse with one employee, probably not going to give them a 70% tax abatement. If a company is looking at a site and they're bringing 300 new jobs to the city, we'll look at different incentives to provide them, but it's all negotiable. If something like that is offered and city council passes and the Bedford City Schools agree, under law, CRA tax abatements come first, and then the TIF kicks in. So what is left after that, then there's the TIF piece. If there's no tax abatement and it's just the piece, that's how the property tax are divvied up. That is the simple version of that. This is, again, I credit to Frank and Jen and Allison and John and Jennifer Kuzma. When I say this is years, it's years. And I think we really had to come up with a creative way to correct this. There's no doubt if we do nothing, there's no doubt in 20 years, there's 30 vacant acres there. You have a property owner that owed the county $3 million, there's 30 acres. He was forced, it's $100,000 an acre. The city did get that appraised, the appraised value was $52,000 an acre. He was never gonna sell it for double the amount of money. So we really had to get creative in how do we take ownership of it? How do we get the county to agree to something like this? How do we make sure our schools are whole and they're not giving up? There was a lot of moving parts. Staff came up with some very creative ways, and I think this is a really, really good deal. And hopefully we see some buildings and some businesses in the future. Right up front, we are taking a significant percentage that we will recoup out of that sale, of the two sales. Like I said, it's roughly about $400,000. I can't give an exact amount because we are required, there's gonna be some legal expenses in there as well as some prorated tax dollars that we'll have to pay as owners. But walking away and getting that freed up and being able to have well over $250,000 put into our capital fund for potentially other projects is really a great deal. So kudos to Frank and his team and Jennifer Kuzma and John, they did a great job on this.
If I might add, besides ourselves, we had a lot of cooperation of the county, the companies and their consultants who worked with us over time. This was a 19-year project that we've been trying to get accomplished. We've been on this actual paperwork for 3 years. It's not an easy issue. You have to get lawyers who haven't dealt with the county or have conflicting interests involved in the project. We were able to do that with our co-partners in our CIC, which is the county land bank. They have great lawyers in that who specialize in this area. We were able to find a firm out of Cincinnati who helped us with the sales agreement. Everything but the sales agreement, who's responsible for our TIF agreement here tonight. So there's a lot of parts that went into this that makes it a very complex deal, but at the same time, a very good one where as everything gets developed more and more, the quicker, the better, the faster, the stronger, more employees that they could put into these facilities, the better for all of us. So finally, yes, this is going forward after all these years. So, and of course, the end users are the most important part of this. Without them, we don't have anything going forward. So that we will look forward to that and see exactly where this takes us. So yeah, great job that we finally can move forward after all these years.
Mr. Malice had a very big hand in it. He was the leader of the whole project, so thank you to him very much. So.
Yeah, I just wanted to reiterate, these guys did a phenomenal job, and our small city departments here, they do a lot of work, and I think we're certainly proud of what they did as council. And again, I want to thank them all and the staff and everybody else that contributed It was a huge undertaking with a lot of moving parts, as Frank explained. Something that's gonna benefit the city, and again, done with the interests of the city at heart. And that was the underlying factor, and it worked out, and it's a good thing. All you people out there should be thanking these guys a lot for what they do up here on a day-to-day basis. This is a huge undertaking, but they do a whole lot of little small things in between that we don't really see every day, that get things done for us. And again, I want to thank you guys and ladies for all the work you did. It's great.
Thank you for giving us the opportunity.
Yep. And before we get to the, we got to vote on it, yep. Call the roll.
Spinks,
Yes.
Janutus,
Yes.
Fluharty,
Yes.
Asbury,
Yes.
Saunders,
Yes.
Cochee.
Yes. Number I, a motion to repeal the zoning board of appeals decision, I'll just read it. To accept the variance of ordinances, 1925.05 lot area, frontage and yard requirements, and 1925.06 principal use orientation, requested by Sam Vitruzino of 933 Archer Road, Bedford, due to the fact that the applicant did not submit plans within the 30 days and the project was not completed within 60 days, as stated in the regular council meeting minutes from April 19, 2021. So, nothing was done. We were just repealing this from our decision to let them do it. And the building department asked that we take this off the books, so just to clear up their paperwork.
Get a motion to that effect?
Motion by Saunders, second by Fluharty. Call the roll, please.
Spinks,
Yes.
Janutus,
Yes.
Fluharty,
Yes.
Asbury,
Yes.
Saunders,
Yes.
Cochee.
Yes. And one thing I forgot to mention in my report, this past week we did a tree planting on the commons for Arbor Day. There was one dead tree in the square, so we were able to place it with a new tree, and had a few people show up for the ceremony. Unfortunately, we normally have the school kids come down from Central, but they wouldn't let anybody out for whatever reason. And so we have a new tree on the square, a centennial maple, which is a hybrid of a sugar maple and a red maple, as our arborist explained all this to me. And the thing's gonna grow 5 feet a year. You can almost stand there and watch it grow. It's amazing, so. Just wanna thank them for honoring Arbor Day, which is celebrating its 150th year as a holiday. Not a holiday, but a memorial to plant trees. And the 50th anniversary of the Arbor Day Foundation, which plants trees all over the country with a goal in the next 10, to plant, I think, 100 million trees. That's pretty aggressive. And that's good. Trees do such good things for us. And what I didn't know and I found out is that not only in the summertime when the leaves are all out, they're cleaning our air and taking in the carbon dioxide and giving off oxygen, the root system actually contains more carbon than the tree that you see. So even in the wintertime, it's storing the carbon and saving our environment. So trees are our friends, so next time you see a tree, give it a hug, right, Lonnie?
Don't take any pictures of this, though.
Okay. And now we come to the hearing of the citizens, where if you wish to speak, please come forward, state your name, your address, and your comment.
Okay, Stan, I can tell you were probably reading National Geographic about the trees this month, with the carbon and all that. Barbara McDaniel, 186 Center Road. This will be interesting because I've been reading in the newspaper and I heard it on the news, Bradford pears have to go in the next year. And I think this town and every other town is full of them, because they were a cheap tree, they bloomed, they grew fast. How are we gonna handle that?
I think our arborist's working on that now, and with the service department.
I mean, how did this get to this issue? Why did not anyone know about this before they became so popular?
Who knows, somebody found out
It was a
something,
good
and
idea and they were cheap, I suppose, so,
probably, and they look nice and all that, but
yeah. Well, we had on Columbus Road the beautiful flowering plums, but then they were messy. But they weren't invasive, so, okay.
Excuse me, Barb, one thing, I have a question for you. You said they have to get rid of them in a year, isn't that?
I said, I think I read in 1923.
2020.
2020?
Is it-
Now, I might be wrong on that, but because there's a lot of disinformation, you read one thing in one place and
Do you think that might be that they just are not
they
for
said they're
sale anymore?
invasive.
They're not for sale anymore?
You can't plant any.
And they're not going to sell them anymore,
Right.
and
Right.
it sounds like, well, they're going to be illegal. I wish they'd do it with the buckthorns too, I just cut another one down in my yard.
Yeah, we'll see, and I'm sure the state will come out with some regulations, and
Yeah,
we'll deal with it, and you're certainly not planting any new ones, because you can't buy
I
them.
know, I just can't imagine digging up every tree line
No, the
in the
trees,
city.
Yeah, I
the
think
trees
there's
won't
a-
have to be taken down, you just can't plant any new ones after that date.
No. But if they're invasive, they're still spreading whatever.
Yeah.
You know, their fruits, their.
Somebody higher up than us is gonna make that determination, and then we'll deal with it. Yeah.
Lucky day. Okay, I have questions about the juvenile detention center.
Name and address, please.
Robert Dieterich, 137 Sandon Circle. Okay, I just surprisingly sat down and watched that 2-hour presentation about this, of what, as I understand, is a juvenile detention center. On that, for incarcerated juveniles averaging about 17 and a half years old. And it just, surprisingly enough, I also, before I came here, read in WIN News or Channel 19 that they're about to have, finally gonna have a case or a court hearing for a 13-year-old who shot a 14-year-old to death in Maple Heights, who is now, surprisingly enough, in a juvenile detention center. On that, as I went through this, they described this juvenile detention center as like the nicest place in the world. But the thought here is, first of all, what kind of crimes have they committed? What's the severity? Are they all misdemeanors? Are there murders? Are there rapes? Are there, major larceny? Things like that. They did not describe that.
But they did. It's in the video, yeah.
And unfortunately, I couldn't see the video. They tell you, let them know, when we watched it, the screens weren't visible. They were just blinded on that. But what I see a need here for is for the public to become more aware, because I'm guessing that maybe we here and maybe 50 other people in the city of Bedford actually knew about that and watched it on that. And one part of my question too is, does the city really have a choice here? Do we, aside from if a zoning, change has to take place and the council does not okay the zoning, and I understand there's conditional use that has to be passed, aside from that, does the city have any control on whether or not that place, the state is going to put a juvenile detention center in, my backyard? Because when they described, they're surrounded by all these ravines and, make it sound as though there's security, those ravines are the ones that I and many other people used to go up and down in the backyard, when we were young. So I'm looking at, that does not seem to be a secure location.
Yeah. Council does have the final word on it.
Okay, for the
And
zoning.
we have not made a decision.
Okay,
We did the public hearing to get it out in public, so people could hear what it was. And also to dispel some of the rumors that run around what it is. There's been so much of that going on that we had the state come in here and explain exactly what it was. And
Well, sit down, can you summarize it to everyone then? I mean, what are we looking at? I understand they talked about up to 65 people. The way they described it, it sounded as though there was one person, one, official, or one, I guess, juvenile, or one probation officer for every 24 people. And then that's, do you know, was it 1 out of 12 or something like that?
that's one staff for every 3 kids there.
But at the detention, in the detention centers themselves, on that, I'm thinking like the Marine Barracks, and the Marine Barracks, and when my son was there, it was like 21 for every, DU, or the
And
I
now
there.
it's 1 to 3,
Okay,
and the kids all have individual rooms. A part of the problem with where they're at in Highland Hills is they have a dormitory setting, and over the years, they started crowding more and more bunk beds in to get more kids, and they don't have outdoor space for them.
that was
They've been there
Indian
50
Hills,
years,
wasn't it?
nobody even knows they were there, so.
Indian Hills, wasn't it? Yeah.
And we checked with the police departments in the neighboring areas, and not to a letter. I mean, I think most of the chiefs said they didn't even know the facility existed because they had no problems there.
All right.
What we can do is, if you wanna leave us your email, we can send you some information and that we have to share with you.
Yeah,
Is the city gonna go through like environmental impact studies, traffic studies, economic impact studies?
that's all stuff they are looking at or have already looked at.
Okay,
They had a criteria of 50 items when they were looking for a location. We hit 49 of them.
the lucky ones. Yeah, okay. I'll have more questions about that, but was there any plan to have a public forum for people to know that, aside from that? Because personally, I did not know about it, I did not see any note about it. I got my sheet the other day, for my taxes, my Bedford newsletter. I didn't see anything in there, nothing stood out about a juvenile delinquent center that's gonna be in my backyard.
We had it printed, we had it notified as,
We did schedule the special meeting, so it was posted, we put it out there a couple weeks prior. Obviously, we did all of the requirements that we needed to do for that, but we also put out information on our website, on social media. Actually, I think it was a couple different social media outlets, it might have went out on an email blast. So we did start a few weeks before, getting that information out. It wasn't, we didn't have the amount of time to where we can include something like that in a water bill insert. Like what you're referring to, that water bill, that information, the staff, what you may have gotten today, it was submitted to the outside printer 6 weeks ago. So we didn't have the luxury of that time, but what we did do is we tried to get the information out as much as possible, at those postings. And we can send the information that we have, some bullet points, we can send that to you, certainly.
Okay, obviously, we lost Paula. Who should we be talking to for board for?
you can talk to myself
Okay,
or any council, we all
all right,
fill in.
okay, thank you.
Hi guys, Denise Hall, 30th Avenue. I have to come to you guys because I hate my councilman. That guy over there. Hi Mayor, it's me. You guys, I want a dog park. Where can we, a dog, D-O-G park?
Dog park, okay.
Yeah, we got a couple of eyesores. The old Walmart, I think I talked to you about that. You said a deal was scheduled, but it fell through. I don't know if that across the street from that new car dealership is ours, or maybe we can split it with Bedford Heights. Also down there by that school. I'm thinking of football left field, so we can, I have to drive 17 minutes, 10.2 miles to Twinsburg. I've been to Stowe, I've been to Canton. They're equivalent to us. We're just as good as they are. We have a very beautiful scenes around here. I want a dog park. So I didn't know where to start, so I came here, cause I can't talk to that guy.
Yeah, no, it's, we've talked about it, there were plans, and then 2008 hit, the economy went down, so that kinda, and now that things are trending upward finally,
Yes, sir.
that's something else we can look at, and we have the plans. It's just if we can institute it again, and kind of slipped down a little on the priority list with all the other stuff going on, you know.
We love dogs around
but
here, and
not-
everybody walks dogs around
You
here.
know.
Okay,
Yeah, it's not forgotten, it's just, like I said, the priority got down a little, and now
yes, sir.
we can start looking at stuff. I don't know if Mike, you wanna comment?
I'll be back, y'all.
No, yeah, I will add, we did have, there was one area that we looked at, because we have the land, like some of those that you mentioned, unfortunately, we don't have the land, so we can't make a private property owner
Yes,
allow
sir.
us to do that. And I agree, I'm a dog person, it was something that, we kind of have a layout. We brought it up at one of the, I believe it was the ward meetings. God, it might have been about 8 years ago, and surprisingly, and I'm a dog person, it was
Yes.
kind of split. There were
Okay.
some people in that ward that did not want it, there were some that wanted it.
What was that? Cause I'm not, I know there's wards, but what area?
It was Councilman Janudis's ward. Yeah.
Taft
Where is
Park.
it? Taft,
It was
okay.
over, it was over
You
by
gotta say
Taft.
streets, I know exactly where the
Yeah, it was-
baseball field is
It was,
at.
yeah, I'm sorry, yeah, it was over by Taft, there was, wasn't as large as what you were explaining, what you were, the football size, but there was an area that we thought we were exploring.
Yes, sir.
And then obviously other things, there were other priorities financially, we weren't in a position to do that.
Yes, sir.
But, you know, those could be discussions that we can maybe have, at some upcoming ward meetings again.
Can I go to those?
Sure,
Yeah, those are public, we advertise for those
those are published.
And are you saying WARD ward?
ward meetings, so what we do is we'll two wards within the city will have a meeting. Their council representative will be here, we'll give kind of like a small presentation and then open it up for the public. So last year we did those, and I want to say August or September.
Yes,
Will
sir.
probably be around the same timeline again.
Okay.
So look for that information, and we'll get that
I'll
out.
put it in my plan.
That'll be a time to come and bring that up.
Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
Have a good evening.
Anyone else? Seeing none, I have a motion for adjournment by Spinks, second by Janudis. Call the roll, please.
Spinks,
Yes.
Janudis,
Yes.
Fluharty,
Yes.
Asbury,
Yes.
Saunders,
Yes.
Cochee.
Yes. Thank you for coming.